Hello everybody! I think one thing that a lot of artists ask is, how to get popular? I have gotten a few comments here and they're telling me that I am underrated, or that my follower count is low compared to the quality that I have. While the numbers do make me kind of happy, I honestly don't really care too much about it. I see a lot of people being concerned with their numbers, and thus it is what I would love to talk a little about today. I want to discuss a little about my following and then on how to grow your following using a strategy that isn't fully based on you just needing to get better. I would love to hear what kind of mindsets you guys all have, so let me know in the comments. First of all, my follower count across different platforms is weak. There is no denying that. There is a huge discrepancy depending on the platform, and as of this video, my smallest follower count is my Instagram, at 175 followers, while my largest is my Facebook, at 1.5 thousand. I feel that my Facebook following is largely a fluke since the algorithm randomly decided to promote my page, and here we are, at 1.5 thousand. The majority of my follower base is also on the other side of the world. My Pixiv does relatively well, at 1.1 thousand, and DeviantArt is kind of dying, at around 600. One thing that you need to keep in mind though, is that the audiences will differ depending on platform, and how you market yourself on each platform will be different. Currently my method of posting is that I simply just post finished artworks, and then write a short description. I started out posting on DeviantArt, since that is a platform I was somewhat familiar with. Sadly, over the last few years, people have become less and less active. The sheer amount of artwork and how they are shown is also not very friendly towards new artists. I've started to not really put that much focus there anymore. If you want to get your art noticed on DeviantArt though, the best way is to add your art into groups. There is a huge difference when I post to groups and when I don't. Lately I've stopped doing it, so the numbers for my recent pieces have started to tank. Their forums work too, but there is a bit of a paradox. The most popular threads will have a ton of people posting, drowning yours out, while the unpopular ones nobody will be checking. Basically, it is a lose-lose situation. For Facebook I don't use any hashtags, since I'm quite lazy with it, but I do it for my Instagram. If I don't, it'll be more or less impossible for anyone to find my artwork, since Instagram wouldn't be able to catalog it. I am a bit sad with Instagram, as it is much more difficult for newer artists to really gain a following. What I mean by this is not that there are better artists, but that there are so many art sharing accounts that post other people's work. As Instagram favors quantity over quality, it is very difficult for individual artists to compete with art sharing accounts. When I was at my highest efficiency, I cranked out one drawing every 3 days, but art sharing accounts can easily share 10 to 20 pictures in one day. For a user, it is much more favorable for them to follow an art sharing account that will regularly post art that is related to what they are interested in, rather than a mediocre artist that may or may not post fan art of what they like every week or so. It is frustrating, but it is what it is. For my Facebook, it first started growing when some other page randomly found my art and shared it. It is also why I don't mind people sharing or reposting my art, as long as they either let me know or credit me. I don't do art for exclusivity or money, but I do it because I like doing it. It makes me really happy when people like what I do to the point that they share it. As long as they don't try to monetize it, I'm fine with it. Lastly I have my Pixiv. I think for Pixiv, the audience there is rather niche, with majority of the people there favoring anime styled art. I do think that the system they have there is leaps and bounds better than any other platform, though the one and only downside is that it is a Japanese platform. Although it isn't mandatory for you to speak or write Japanese, I feel like it helps a lot more if you do. It is currently one of my favorite platforms just because of how they recommend and how you can find other artists. Additionally, users tend to not comment as much as other platforms, and if they do, it is usually through emojis. I don't really have a good transition here, so moving on to boosting your following. There are a ton of strategies you can do, but a lot of them are related to your actual creations. I would love to talk about it another day, but today I want to talk about methods unrelated to your art quality. The method is threefold. First is to have a cool profile picture that you've drawn yourself. Second, a good handle name. And third is to comment on other people's posts, a lot. I believe these three things are essential to growing your following outside of improving your art. This is mostly theoretical, and I haven't tried it, as gaining a larger following isn't my top priority at the moment. I do believe it should work though. I'll explain my reasoning. First, the profile picture is what most people will see you as. It is the embodiment of your online persona. It will be what people visually identify you with, and is also the first impression people will get. When you choose a profile picture, it should represent what you do. Generally, a portrait of your character works the best. A logo could work, but if the platform has a lot of different genres outside of art, it probably won't be as good. Let's use Instagram as an example. There are a lot of different people posting different things, from art, to food, to selfies. Even large companies use Instagram. Let's say you do a lot of character art, but if maybe your dog is your profile photo, it won't attract the right people. Artists who aren't interested in pictures of animals won't click your profile since they aren't interested in dogs or animals. They make this decision all based on your profile picture. Animal enthusiasts might click on your profile but will quickly move on once they see and realize that you only post digital art. If you do a lot of dog drawings though, it might be a different story, but in this case, you only really draw characters. If you have a cool profile picture of a character you drew, then people who are interested in art will click on your profile. This is because your profile shows the relevant people what content you do. Once they see the art you do is related to your profile picture, then you have a higher chance of them following you. This is also why logos might not work that well. Having a logo makes it seem that you are a company or corporation. It doesn't show what you do. A lot of people aren't interested in corporations or brands that are unknown, so be sure that your profile presents what you do. A second thing with profile pictures is that detail doesn't matter. Most platforms will have your profile picture as a small thumbnail, so it doesn't matter if you drew out the individual pores of your character. Nobody will see it. The things you should focus on for a profile picture are shapes and values. Having large shapes will make it easier to look at, as well as making things feel more well-defined. You can focus on the shapes by doing thumbnails and really minimizing it. If it looks good while it is small, then you're good to go. Values also ties in with the shapes. A strong contrast will make the shapes stand out more. It doesn't matter if you have good shapes if everything just melds together. Things should be well defined and easy to differentiate from one another. Set your drawings to black and white, and you can check from there whether your values are good or not. If it is difficult to make things out, then your values are probably shit. This is also why blocky highlights work really well. They act as contrasting shapes and give the drawing more differentiation. The second thing I want to discuss is your handle name, or username. Your username is especially important if the platform you are on hosts a lot of other types of media. Simply adding art to your name will tell people that it is an art account. Of course, it is cool to just have a standalone name, but it will be harder for people to tell that you are an art account. People who are interested will be curious to see what kind of art you do, if you really make it obvious that you do art. Additionally, your name should be simple to remember and simple to recite. I failed at this, since I suck at spelling and spelled my name wrong. So if people want to talk about me, and verbally say hey, check out Yggdrasil, they'd write, Yggdrasil, with a D, and then find nothing. At this point, I'm already too deep in, and I've already embraced my mistake. Some examples of what I think are really cool and simple names that anyone can share really quickly are, Ask, Lack, and LM7. These are some really short names and are really easy to remember. Some of their art is also shown on screen now, and I highly recommend checking these people out. Long and complicated names are hard to remember, and makes sharing difficult. Short and simple ones are very memorable and makes sharing simple. The third and last thing to boost your following, is to comment a lot. This is a crucial step, and will work much better when you have a good profile picture and a good name. When you comment on something, everybody else can see it. It is essentially free advertisement. Try to comment a lot on other artists who do similar work to you. This way, other people who are fans of that artist will see your profile picture, then see your name, and connect the dots to see that you are also an artist that does similar things to what they are a fan of. This is why your profile picture needs to be good, as it is essentially a taste test for new people to see what you do. Having a good username indicates that you aren't just a random fan that stole or took the picture from someone else, but that you made it yourself. Comment around on a lot of different people's works, but don't spam them out. Your comments don't have to be long and thoughtful, but they shouldn't feel spammy. A simple, "I love your work" heart emoji, or, "Wow, I love how you did the hair," is good. Absolutely, under no circumstances, should you ever write, "Check out my work," or tell people to check your work out. While it seems to make sense that you are advertising for your own artwork, with the current social media climate, that isn't the case. You aren't a stall only selling your work, but an online persona that sells your work and yourself as a person. This is why you see accounts with large followings, but with quote, "that," unquote art. People aren't only following them for their work, but also them as a person. By selling yourself out, it will only speak a lot regarding your own character. Role-playing as your character could work wonders, but you have to remember that you will need to keep that facade up for a long time. If you do role-play, though, make sure you're having fun with it, and that you're not only doing it for the sake of luring in more people. Before I end the video, I would like to just mention one last way to get your art noticed, though it is more specific to your individual pieces. Reddit is a great platform, where you can share your art to the related subreddit. It works the best if you do fan art. Just posting your fan art to the related subreddit will grab a ton of attention. As an example, my most favorited work is on Pixiv, at 1.7 thousand likes, but I usually average around 40 to 80 depending on what I draw. On Reddit, I'll get at least 2 to 3,000 upvotes, averaging around 4 to 6,000. My best piece had 17,000 upvotes. The only downside to Reddit is that your posts will only last for 24 hours. By this I mean that once 24 hours is over, the Reddit system will not prioritize your piece anymore, and it will be super difficult for anyone to randomly find it. It doesn't work well as a catalog of your work. Now that concludes some of my thoughts of my current following, as well as a strategy that you could use to boost your own. Sadly, I don't really follow my own strategy as I want to focus on getting better at art, rather than growing my following. I'm also a bit introverted, which makes it difficult for me to motivate myself to socialize to random people. It is something I think that I need to work on, but generally by the time I post, I'm already exhausted from drawing, and don't have much brain power to think of what to say or write. I do hope, however, that you find this video helpful, and if you are interested in checking out any of my art, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, DeviantArt, or Pixiv. If you want to support me, just share any of my art that you like. If you have any suggestions to what I could improve or change, comment below and let me know. I hope you all have fun in your art journey, and remember that we are all in this for the long haul.